No.
You're going to tell me otherwise.
I'll tell you in just a little bit.
Keep me in suspense.
That's right.
Thanks. We'll get you on the details in a little bit.
All right.
Before we get to news-making headlines here in Central Texas, here's Patricia Musburger with Newswatch.
U.S. soldiers could be getting marching orders for Africa. 30,000 American troops could be deployed to Somalia to assist with humanitarian efforts. 1,800 Marines are already standing by. They're ready to move if the UN votes to send them. For the first time in 20 years, the U.S. Supreme Court has decided not to rule on a major case involving abortion. The court voted 6-3 to allow a lower court's ruling to stand. The lower court had struck down a law in the U.S. territory of Guam that basically outlawed abortion. Both anti-abortion and pro-choice supporters played down today's decision. The Freedom of Choice Act would give broad federal approval for abortions. I'm Patricia Musburger for Newswatch 6 Today.
Upon visiting Central Texas, U.S. Senator Phil Gramm was forced to answer some controversial questions surrounding his past. However, David LaCroix tells us that his reason for coming to Fort Hood was to review military spending.
Republican Senator Phil Gramm, the senior member on the Military Construction Subcommittee, choppered into Fort Hood today. Escorted by the commanding general of 3 Corps in Fort Hood, Lieutenant General H.G. Taylor, Senator Gramm toured Fort Hood's facilities to check on the expansion progress.
And I can assure you, in terms of providing money for military construction, I am always aware of the fact that if there is one division left in the American Army, it is going to be at Fort Hood, Texas.
Not all questions fielded by the senator were military in nature, however. Senator Gramm recently came under fire for being allowed to allegedly underpay a construction crew in return for helping the company's owner out of a possible savings and loans scandal. At a press conference held this morning at Fort Hood, questions about the senator's conduct once again arose.
I turned it over to the Ethics Committee, and also I went to a Maryland builder, got another bid, which was $57,000, $6,000 less than I paid. Now, the New York Times decided not to go into that. But those are the facts. And I guess this is a new way of life I'm going to have to learn to live with. Do I like it? No. Does it make my mama happy? No. But did I do anything wrong? No.
The outspoken senator made his views on several issues known today. He is against homosexuals in the military, supports congressional legislation governing women in combat, and according to Senator Gramm, his dealings with S&L issues were all above board. Dave LaCroix, Newswatch 6, Fort Hood.
Fort Hood officials won't say whether any troops on the base will be deployed to Somalia. Today, the UN Security Council will address the issue of sending U.S. troops there to help with relief efforts. There is the possibility that 30,000 troops would be deployed from bases across the country. It wouldn't be anything new for Fort Hood soldiers. Last year, they traveled to South America and other countries in need of their help. A Waco youngster is listed in critical condition today following a fire at his family's home. Firefighters say 12-year-old Matthew Horn was asleep when the blaze started Monday morning. Matthew has Down syndrome and lives with his grandparents. Firemen rescued the boy. His grandparents managed to escape uninjured. They both thought Matthew got out of the house.
They got out here and pulled him out and took him out here and took him to Hillcrest, and now he transferred him to Scott and White, and he said he's doing fine. He's holding his own.
Matthew may have suffered permanent lung damage from smoke inhalation. He's recovering in the intensive care unit at Scott and White Hospital. A Waco man is being held at the county lockup in connection with his girlfriend's death. Police say Michael Keith Miller pushed Kimbra Rice from a moving car in June. Rice suffered a head injury and later died. Miller is charged with murder and is being held on a $75,000 bond. A Waco businessman is upset because he'll be forced to compete with McLennan County. County commissioners are still talking about purchasing the General Tire building to relieve jail overcrowding. A section of the building may be leased out as warehouse space. But a man who's in that business doesn't want to go up against the county.
Primarily, I don't believe that any government body should have to prove their needs by going into business or private enterprise. And I think that is not serving the public adequately.
No word yet when commissioners might make a final decision on the jail overcrowding proposal. There may be changes in the way the state handles adoption procedures in the future. It surrounds the case of this 17-month-old girl named Annie. She's Hispanic, and her foster parents, Cheryl and Bud Peacock, are white. A San Antonio judge has given the okay for the Peacocks to adopt Annie.
This has been a long haul, and it looks like it's finally going to come to a positive end.
Controversy has surrounded the case because the state originally said Annie should be placed with an Hispanic family. Critics state that's racist. What would you do with $1 million a year for the next 20 years? Well, that's what Janie Callis of Schulenburg is trying to decide. The 65-year-old retired nurse won $22 million in Saturday night's lotto drawing. She was the only person to pick all 6 numbers. On Monday, she traveled to Austin to pick up her first check. Callis says she'll help care for her 94-year-old mother who's in a nursing home.
6 numbers right, and there's, you know, it's just far-fetched for me.
Callis also wants to buy a new car. She says she'll get rid of her 1985 Chevy Celebrity. She says she may buy a new Buick. Richard, what would you buy?
Well, a Lincoln Town Car, of course, Christina. Good morning, everybody. I'll tell you what's even more amazing about that lady. I just found out she picked the numbers in order. Some of you mathematicians figure those odds for your math class homework today. Goodness gracious, picked them in order. Golly, that's difficult enough to pick them, but to pick them in order. Well, here are our temperatures in no particular order. 37 degrees in Waco. It's 43 in Temple and in the Bryan College Station area, 40 in Killeen. We do have a few clouds out there, some high cirrus clouds, nothing to write home about. 89% the relative humidity. Our dew point, 34 degrees. Southwest winds are blowing at 7, and the barometer is falling at 30.10 inches of mercury. Well, here is the 4D satellite picture. Now, this is yesterday afternoon, late yesterday afternoon, when, as you will remember, there were quite a few clouds. We'll put it into motion and show you that all of that sort of begins to move on out. And actually, this picture looks much worse than it actually is. Those clouds out there aren't as threatening as this frame would have you to believe, but there are some clouds out there. They'll be clearing off shortly after daybreak, though. And we'll give way to a sunny day today with a high of 59. Winds will be southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. By late this afternoon, those winds will pick up to 10 to 20, and they'll shift out of the northwest. Now, tonight, skies will be clear. We'll hit about 33 for the overnight low, with northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And tomorrow, a sunny day with a high of 63. Winds will be northwest tomorrow, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's your extended forecast. It looks pretty good, huh? Thursday, scattered showers with a low of 46 and a high of 58. Scattered showers forecast on Friday, low of 40 and a high of 52. And numerous showers on Saturday, low of 38 and a high of 45. And Christine, I normally don't complain so much about rain when we haven't had an overabundance of it, but I'll tell you what, Saturday, we don't want it because that's the day that Temple's playing their playoff game at Floyd Casey Stadium. And so rain probably won't help matters any at all for either the teams involved or for the folks that want to go see it.
No, could be a lot of fumbles involved in that game. There usually are when it's sloppy out like that.
Yeah, so we'll keep our fingers crossed on that one.
You told us that woman picked all 6 numbers
In
in
order.
I can't believe that.
That's unbelievable.
I only got 2 of those numbers, by the way.
I think I got 2 also.
You know, my father, I've told you before, he's an engineer. He's one of those mathematical wizards. But
What railroad
anyway,
does he work for?
railroad. Silly. Anyway, he was trying to figure out statistically what the best odds would be of picking any of those numbers.
Right.
And what numbers you should pick.
Did he come to any conclusion?
He hasn't called me back yet on that one. Maybe he'll figure it out.
I'm serious. Some of these advanced math classes in high schools today should figure up what were the odds of picking those numbers in order.
I'll tell you, I could never figure it out.
Oh, I
I'm doing
couldn't
good
either.
just to balance a checkbook.
I'm doing good to make change out of a dollar.
Obviously, I'm not a mathematical-minded person.
That's right. That's right.
Just ahead, how you can light up a life this Christmas season, and later Christmas So we'll try to brighten up your day with the morning sports, so don't go away.
We'll all get lit in just a moment. It's 6:10 and it's up 40, what'd you say? 40,
42?
42. It's 42. We'll go with 42. 42 degrees.
Our instruments marching in
Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Chevrolet Geo Mercedes-Benz. Come by. Let's be friends.
Super Walmart, Super Pharmacy, Super Walmart Pharmacy. When you need a pharmacy for you and your whole family, that's Super Walmart, Super Pharmacy. That Walmart
Poor Seymour clearly couldn't read the signs to find his way home. So he went for new glasses. The first place was in such a rush they didn't fit him right. The second place was so cheap the lens popped out. Finally, at TSO, Seymour got to see more styles, more quality, more value. And now, with any eyewear purchase over $99, you can get a soft, plush, lovable Seymour free. A $40 value free while they last. There's only one way to see more clearly. Happy holidays from TSO.
Welcome back to Newswatch 6 today. This morning we're going to tell you how you can light up a light this Christmas season. Joining me now is Doug McFarland. He is the manager of Community Hospice of Waco. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Christine.
Now, first tell us the details of your ceremony that's coming up on the 13th of December.
Well, the event actually begins earlier in November when we begin mailing out donation cards and invitations to the tree lighting ceremony. And that will be Sunday, December 13th at 3 o'clock at the Richland Mall in Bell's Court. And we'll have a brief program of about 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll have music from Provident Heights Elementary Handbell Choir, and Chaplain Holland from Hillcrest Baptist Medical Center will deliver a brief message.
Okay, what's the main purpose of the event?
Well, we want to bring an awareness of hospice to the community, but also we're going to be honoring people that have died during the past year. Also, we'll be honoring the living. People honor who they select to honor by sending in a $10 donation, and then we put that person's name on a dove that we place on a gold banner that surrounds the tree.
Okay, and why is it so important this time of year for people that would like to do something like this?
Well, for some of the people, the holiday season brings along more intensive grief reactions if they've had a loss during the year. And they need to express that grief, and participating in this event and in the ceremony allows them to express their grief. And many of the people who have attended in the past have told me that's been very helpful to them.
Okay, what about the people out there who have not received any donor cards or anything like that?
Well, I would like them to call our office, and we'd be glad to send them an invitation and a donor card. Our number is 756-8649.
Okay, you also mentioned that some people like to honor the living.
Newborns and people who have been helpful to the families as they've been caregivers for people who have had terminal illnesses during the year.
Okay, sounds like a nice thing to do.
Yes.
Once again, the Light Up a Life ceremony is coming up on December 13th at 3 p.m. at Bell's Court in Richland Mall. For more information, you can contact the Community Hospice of Waco at 756-8649. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Right now, it's time to join Roscoe Harrison on Business Watch.
Good morning. I have Tom Fuller of Merrill Lynch with us this morning. Tom, the economy looks like it's rebounding at such a rate that it's just really unbelievable. Last week we had several important numbers.
It's now 6:17 and 42 degrees. Time to check in with Chris Massell, who has your morning sports.
Good morning, everybody. There are many questions for the Baylor football team to answer, like what bowl will the Bears go to and what will the coaching staff look like when they're there? Well, the answer is it's a long story. Here's Steve Snyder.
I'm doing good. Let's go, guys. If you thought you'd seen the last of Grant Taff and the Baylor Bears when they walked triumphantly off the field after the Texas game, well, you were wrong.
We are assured that we will be going to the Hancock Bowl.
That's right, unless another bowl comes calling for the Bears. Baylor will play Arizona in the John Hancock Bowl on December 31st in El Paso. And with the bowl bid now safely sewn up, the question turns to who will coach the Bears, outgoing Coach Taff or incoming Coach Chuck Reedy.
Coach Reedy, who will succeed me as the football coach at Baylor, will succeed me January 1 now of 1993. after the bowl game. He will, of course, serve, as he has very ably for the last 3 years, as the offensive coordinator.
This is his football team. He's nurtured this team along from the very beginning of the season, and you know, I just think it's only right, and certainly concur and agree wholeheartedly that he should be the coach, and that's the only way really that I thought it could be.
So we know Tav will be the head coach and Reedy the offensive coordinator for the bowl game. And the two coaches that Reedy kept from Taft's staff, Pete Fredenberg and Robert James, will also be on hand. From there, Taft says 4 other assistants from his staff will coach in the bowl game. Those will be named as game day gets closer. But none of the new assistant coaches on Reedy's staff will coach in the bowl game.
Of course, we all remember the incredible emotion here at Floyd Casey Stadium when Taft coached his first final game. But don't expect that kind of emotion at the Hancock Bowl. You see, Taft says he's already had his big finale.
If I had scripted the whole thing, I couldn't have drawn it up in a more positive and beautiful way for me personally. And so, to me, that ended it. I'm doing this for the university, I'm doing this for my team, and I'm doing this for my coaching staff, but my emotion is gone. It's a done deal, and I'm coaching this game just for others, not for myself.
Steve Snyder, Newswatch 6 Sports.
Okay, thank you, Steve. That's it for this half hour. We'll see you again in 30 minutes.
Thanks, Chris. Coming up next, Dan Willis with Ag Watch, and later Richard will take a look at your ag weather forecast. Please stay with us.
Good morning, Central Texas. Hi, I'm Gerald Bolton from Gerald Bolton Chevrolet in West. We're featuring a great selection of 2- and 4-wheel drive pickups. We now have the 6.5-liter diesel pickup available in the regular cab and the extended cab versions. You need to come and try this new extended cab truck out with the 6.5 diesel. You'll really be impressed with it. Come to Gerald Bolton Chevrolet in West. Drive a little, save a lot. These days, a quality Western hat can be an expensive investment, so you need to take care of your hats. Now you can with the Rancher's Hat Transport or Cowboy Hat Carrier. It's easy to use and carry in a pickup or car. Saves space and prevents damages. Just place the loop around the crown of the hat, then swing the hook section down against the brim. It's so easy and convenient, everyone will want one. Makes a great gift for that special cowboy. And you can get your Rancher's Hat Transport or Cowboy Hat Carrier at your local Western store. Purina Accuration grass stretchers have been used extensively by Central Texas stock operators for the past several years with excellent results. Since Purina has a complete line of Accuration grass stretchers formulated exclusively for growing stock or cattle on grass, finding one to fit your situation is easy if you just talk to your local Purina dealer. Whether you're running stockers on summer grass, winter grass, or you're using hay for roughage, limiting the feed intake of highly nutrient-dense Accuration grass stretchers, you can balance the calves' needs. You just need to follow the proper program based on your situation and your goals. Talk to your local Purina dealer. Steve Pringle's our guest again on Ag Watch this morning. We've been picking Steve's mind as this new administration comes in, kind of what we can expect. He's Director of National Affairs for the Texas Farm Bureau and spends a lot of time in Washington. Steve, one of the things that the President-elect has been critical of is the free trade agreement. How will this affect the new administration? How's it going to affect the free trade agreement between Canada, Mexico, America as we see it?
Well, Governor Clinton early on had some questions about the North American Free Trade Agreement. I think as the campaign wore on, he visited with influential people like Senator Benson from Texas, and I think they persuaded him that the North American Free Trade Agreement is a beneficial agreement, and so Governor Clinton did sign off on the North American Free Trade Agreement. He has got some reservations about the environmental provisions and may want to try to put together some side agreements there, but the bottom line is he supports the North American Free Trade Agreement, and that's extremely important. The developments of the last 10 days where Mexico has imposed import restrictions on beef coming into Mexico anywhere from 15 to 25%. It's unfortunate that Mexico chose to do that at this time. However, I think it could prove beneficial to U.S. producers because here in the next 6 months, if we can get a North American Free Trade Agreement approved, our our tariffs going in there will go to zero. We will fortunately be the only country that'll be allowed to ship beef into Mexico with zero tariffs. The other countries will still be facing those higher tariffs.
Which it looked like a roadblock at first, but it could be a blessing in disguise.
It certainly could.
Because it will have a hands-off attitude from the outside, and we'll be treated as a brother in trade.
And you know, obviously it was untimely for the Mexican government to impose the tariffs that they did, but I think we've got to recognize, we're going to have to continue to recognize that we can't afford to let our producers break a market in any one country. And certainly the amount of livestock that had been shipped into Mexico this year was threatening their livestock market over there, and it was placing hardships on
much as
their
our produce people see maybe that happening in our future.
That's right.
That's the fear and the threat that we have.
And our people, our government is going to take actions to make sure that our produce people are handled the same way.
With the delicacies that international treaties hang on, will the new administration coming in maybe want to make some policy changes? How much of a trickle down will that have? How will that affect maybe some of the compromises that's been made up to that date in getting international treaties signed?
Well, the treaty is now agreed to. The Governor Clinton would have a very difficult time, or President-elect Clinton would have a very difficult time going back on the treaty that's been agreed to by the Bush administration. I don't see him doing that. I think he basically approves of the treaty that's signed. I think it's gonna be a difficult time difficult to pass in the upcoming Congress, but hopefully we can get that thing approved. But it's going to be important to the people of the state of Texas.
We're out of time on Ag Watch. I'd love to have you back and take a look at what you think is going to happen in environmental issues that we're seeing that maybe are hanging. We'll see you tomorrow on Ag Watch, same time. Every Wednesday at 12 p.m., Lampasas Cattle Auction in Lampasas, Texas, offers you a top market for all your livestock. Operated by Bill Holly, who brings you a lifetime of livestock marketing expertise and knowledge of the livestock industry. No one can better market your livestock. Great facility, top personnel and sales representatives from all the major packing plants and order buying firms guarantee you top prices for your livestock with fast, courteous service. Cattle received every day. For more information, call Bill Holly, 512-556-3611.
It's now 6:24, and Richard has that look at your ag weather forecast. Richard?
Thanks a lot, Christina. We're up to 44 degrees now in the heart of Texas. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, let's take a look at that ag weather, shall we? A little more sunshine than we saw yesterday. In the forecast for today, 6 to 8 hours. No dew or rain. Now, tomorrow morning, we're expecting a frost tomorrow morning. Just want you to be aware of that. Very high drying potential today. Minimum relative humidity, 25%. Here is the infrared satellite picture. Now, this really represents better what's going on cloud-wise. That 4D satellite picture we saw a few minutes ago doesn't make it look like it was the end of the world in our neck of the woods. Here you see the lighter cloud cover, the high cirrus clouds stretching across central Texas, and those will largely break up as the day goes along, and really we don't expect anything out of them, just going to be a nice sunshiny day. Right now the national radar picture shows us the state of Texas pretty much free from precipitation. There's a little bit falling off the Texas Gulf Coast, the Beaumont and the Houston areas down around Galveston, but other than that, nothing for us. There's a little bit of, that's probably snow up in Colorado, although I haven't called to check, and the Dakotas and Minnesota getting a little bit of snowfall also this morning. Here's your forecast for today. Sunshine, a high of 59 with southwest winds 5 to 10. Now, tonight, skies will remain clear. We'll get down to a cool 33. There won't be any clouds to hold in any heat, so it'll cool down rapidly once the sun goes down. Winds will be northwest 5 to 10. And tomorrow, sunny with a high of 63, northwest winds 5 to 10. Here's your extended forecast now, and it is a wet one. Thursday and Friday, we're calling for scattered showers with lows in the 40s and highs in the 50s. And then Saturday, we're calling for numerous showers, Christina. Whoa, look out.
Almost tripped over yourself.
I'm going to do the Dick Van Dyke show right
It's Tuesday.
Ooh, boy, I wish you hadn't said that. I hadn't thought about it until now. Anyway, lows will get down in the 30s, highs in the 50s.
Looks like a great weekend maybe to stay inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do some house cleaning maybe, or
just lay on the couch and watch television.
Football.
Lie on the couch and watch.
Thank you for correcting yourself.
No problem.
Always want to be grammatically correct.
That's right.
Anyway, speaking of football, for those who fell asleep last night during Monday Night Football, they may have missed something.
Big one.
But we're not going to give it away just yet.
Yeah.
We're going to make everyone hold
Hang
on
around
in
just
suspense,
a few more minutes.
and we'll tell them next half hour. And also coming up in our next half hour, we'll tell you how one bank is trying to create jobs and revive the economy. Also, Newswatch 6 for kids, and later educational programs hit the airwaves. We'll be right back.
We'll hit the airwaves in just a little bit. It's 6:27 and 44 degrees.
Oldsmobile redefines quality. Here's proof. Call 1-800-THE-TEST to get independent test results from a 100,000-mile real-world test of the new Oldsmobile Achieva against Honda Accord and Toyota Camry. Learn how Achieva outperformed Accord and Camry in total cost, which consists of maintenance, repair, and operating costs. You'll even get a free video documenting the test. Call now. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Put the 93 Achieva to the test now at your Texas Men of Olds.
In today's world, we all face constant change, but one thing that hasn't changed is true quality. At Myron's Office World, we're pleased to offer the timeless quality of Lazy Boy office furniture. Lazy Boy furniture is known for its quality, comfort, and style. We stock a complete selection at affordable prices at both our locations in Killeen and Copper's Cove. Lazy Boy office furniture in Myron's Office World. Two names that mean quality, especially in a changing world.
It's the kind of misery
I just want to have a baby.
that could only happen to Sam.
This is crazy.
Quantum Leap, NBC Tuesday.
Tuesday, signs of romance for Marley, the language of love.
You are giving me whiplash.
For Mark Harmon.
So me.
Then one brother's a killer.
Everything all right, little brother?
I say nothing.
The other's taking the fall.
I didn't kill anybody.
And the truth could be deadly.
There's got to be a way to nail this guy.
All new Reasonable Doubts, NBC Tuesday.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Newswatch 6 today on this Tuesday morning. It's now almost 6:30.
Almost, but not quite. Remember,
a few seconds left.
Almost only counts in hand grenades. I found out it does count in horseshoes. That old Christmas O told me that.
He knows all.
He knows everything there is to know about sports.
Today's December, too.
Oh, you know, you're right. Today is the first day of December. Time to change the calendar.
Last month of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, boy, 92 has flown.
It sure has.
I remember it just seems that, I mean, January 1st, I can remember it like yesterday.
This decade is flying by, I'll tell you what.
Isn't that the truth? This century is flying by.
But haven't you noticed, though, as you get older, years fly by?
Remember how long Christmas used to seem?
I know, and you used to think a year is so long, and
it's
now
nothing.
It's so short.
Well, I remember my parents always said the same thing, and I never understood
You thought
it.
they were crazy.
Yeah.
Then you grow up and you understand that most things they told you were right.
Yeah. If I had just paid attention the first time around, I wouldn't be having to call Dad and ask questions now.
Exactly.
Dad, what do I do with this hot water heater?
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, about 44 degrees outside now?
44 degrees outside, headed for a high in the upper 50s. It's going to be a nice day.
Okay, great. We'll get to you on the details in a little bit.
All right.
Taking a look now at news-making national headlines, an Air Force spokesman says it appears all 13 crew members were killed last night when two C-141 cargo planes crashed over Montana. The spokesman says the collision occurred during a refueling training mission involving 4 Air Force C-141s and a tanker plane. Texas and military officials are investigating the crash of a B-1 bomber in the West Texas mountains. The condition of the 4 men aboard the Dyess Air Force Base plane was not known. However, the Texas Department of Public Safety had an unconfirmed report that at least one survivor has been located by Jeff Davis County officials searching the site. The 4 men are officially listed as missing. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says ending the ban on homosexuals in the military would not break the force and would not cause mass resignations from the service. Speaking in Washington last night, General Colin Powell said the military is struggling with how best to handle the change if the anti-gay ban is lifted. In state news, American Airlines has eliminated more than 500 management jobs, and more cuts are likely as the Fort Worth-based carrier tries to save $300 million. And tomorrow's Texas Lotto drawing goes back to $2 million. A retired nurse from Schulenburg won Saturday's $22 million. Upon visiting Central Texas, U.S. Senator Phil Gramm was forced to answer some controversial questions surrounding his past. However, David LaCroix tells us that his reason for coming to Fort Hood was to review military spending.
Republican Senator Phil Gramm, the senior member on the Military Construction Subcommittee, choppered into Fort Hood today. Escorted by the commanding general of 3 Corps in Fort Hood, Lieutenant General H.G. Taylor, Senator Gramm toured Fort Hood's facilities to check on the expansion progress.
And I can assure you, in terms of providing money for military construction, I am always aware of the fact that if there is one division left in the American Army, it is going to be at Fort Hood, Texas.
Not all questions fielded by the senator were military in nature, however. Senator Gramm recently came under fire for being allowed to allegedly underpay a construction crew in return for helping the company's owner out of a possible savings and loans scandal. At a press conference held this morning at Fort Hood, questions about the senator's conduct once again arose.
I turned it over to the Ethics Committee, and also I went to a Maryland builder, got another bid, which was $57,000, $6,000 less than I paid. Now, the New York Times decided not to go into that. But those are the facts. And I guess this is a new way of life I'm going to have to learn to live with. Do I like it? No. Does it make my mama happy? No. But did I do anything wrong? No.
The outspoken senator made his views on several issues known today. He is against homosexuals in the military, supports congressional legislation governing women in combat, and according to Senator Gramm, his dealings with S&L issues were all above board. Dave LaCroix, Newswatch 6, Fort Hood.
Fort Hood officials won't say whether any troops on the base will be deployed to Somalia. Today, the UN Security Council will address the issue of sending U.S. troops there to help with relief efforts. There is the possibility that 30,000 troops would be deployed from bases across the country. It wouldn't be anything new for Fort Hood soldiers. Last year, they traveled to South America and other countries in need of their help. A Waco youngster is listed in critical condition today following a fire at his family's home. Firefighters say 12-year-old Matthew Horn was asleep when the blaze started Monday morning. Matthew has Down syndrome and lives with his grandparents. Firemen rescued the boy. His grandparents managed to escape uninjured. They both thought Matthew got out of the house.
Got out here and pulled him out and took him out here and took him to Hillcrest, and now he transferred him to Scott and White, and he's said he's doing fine. He's holding his own.
Matthew may have suffered permanent lung damage from smoke inhalation. He's recovering this morning in the intensive care unit at Scott and White Hospital. A Waco man is being held at the county lockup in connection with his girlfriend's death. Police say Michael Keith Miller pushed Kimbra Rice from a moving car in June. Rice suffered a head injury and later died. Miller is charged with murder and is being held on a $75,000 bond. Some bad economic news for Central Texas this morning. About 90 people in Temple will soon be unemployed. Duplex Products Incorporated is shutting down 2 plants, including the one in Temple. It will gradually shut down over the next year.
Been here 20 years, stuff like that, and you come in and find out you ain't got a job anymore, you know, things come to an end pretty fast.
Oh, I feel bad. Been here 23 years. So, what can you say?
What are you going to do?
Oh, I just get started all over again, I guess.
The plant manufactures business forms for commercial and industrial use. Richard now has a look at your morning weather.
Well, thanks a lot, Christina, and good morning. We have some good news for you. A nice day of weather ahead, but enjoy it because by the end of the week, that all changes. 44 degrees right now in the heart of Texas, and we call it chamber weather, Chamber of Commerce weather. Today, Chamber of Horrors weather, maybe by the end of the week. Dallas will see sunshine, a high of 63. It'll be partly cloudy in El Paso with a high of 62. Houston will see sunshine and 70, and it'll be sunny in Lubbock with a high of 62. Here's the infrared satellite picture looking close up at Texas, and as we put it into motion, A lot of the clouds we had yesterday thin out, just left with a few thin strings of cirrus clouds, and those are not going to cause us any harm today. And as a matter of fact, they'll quickly burn off once the sun comes up, and we'll give way to a very nice day. It's a very nice but cool morning. Amarillo reporting 28 degrees, 35 in Dallas, 46 in San Antonio, 49 in Houston, 54 down in Brownsville. Now your forecast. We'll hit up a high of 59 today with sunny skies and southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. This afternoon, those winds will shift around to the northwest, and they'll be blowing 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, clear skies, a low of 30 with northwest winds 5 to 10. And tomorrow, another sunshiny day with a high of 63. All right, but that's it, because after that, here come the rains. Well, let's show you. Thursday, scattered showers, low of 46, high of 58. Scattered showers in the forecast also for Friday with a low of 40 and a high of 52. And Saturday, we're calling for numerous showers with a low of 38 and a high of 45. So again, anything outdoors you want to do today and tomorrow will be the day to do it. And just get ready for rain for the weekend, end of the week, and possibly on into the weekend.
Okay, well, there was a storm, so to speak, in Seattle last night. It brewed kind of late for the Seahawks, but for those out there like myself who fell asleep in the fourth quarter of the game and Seattle was behind, Seattle ended up winning in overtime. 16 to 13.
Where is Howard Cosell when you need him? We could have overtime. I mean, he would figure the math like at halftime. Okay, if this team scores 2 touchdowns and the other team scores a field goal and a safety, we could have overtime.
Now they can do that by computer. You notice how quickly they come up with all those stats
all the stats, all the scenarios. I'll tell you what, it's almost like the stats are out of control.
They are. They give you things you never even thought about even wanting to know.
Yeah, really. Like this guy.
Like last time he washed his hair 2 hours before the game, he won.
And they won by 3. Yeah,
exactly.
it's like he's hot. He's a hot hitter on a Thursday. You know. So
yeah.
Weird stuff.
Really. But
that game was weird too. Who would have thought Seattle would have beat them?
I know.
Dallas plays Denver Sunday, and can clinch a playoff berth if they win.
I think I'll bet on Dallas.
I'm taking my chance with Dallas too.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, we thought Grant Taft's last game. I can't talk today. We thought Grant Taft's last game was his last game, but it wasn't.
He's getting another game thanks to Rice.
Baylor's going to the John Hancock Bowl, which is in El Paso, formerly the Sun Bowl.
Yes, it used to be the Sun Bowl, but not anymore.
No, it's not. Obviously.
And that's another topic that we could discuss.
What a thought.
Yeah, really.
Right now it's time to join Christmas, so he has more on your morning report.
6:39, 44 degrees.
Good morning again, everybody. Last half hour, we told you about the Baylor football team and what they're going to do as far as assistants go for their bowl game. Well, now let's talk about assistants for the future. Coach Reedy names 2 of them yesterday. Joining holdovers Pete Fredenberg and Robert James will be Ken Rucker, who comes from Arkansas and will coach the running backs. Ron West from Southwestern Louisiana to coach either the linebackers or the offensive line. And Chris Lancaster from Clemson. Rucker and West will go to work recruiting immediately. The Arkansas football team has its 3rd head coach in 3 months. The Razorbacks hired Danny Ford yesterday. He replaces interim coach Joe Kynes, who replaced fired coach Jack Crow. Ford led Clemson to a national championship in 1981, but he resigned as Tigers coach in 1990 after Clemson was placed on NCAA probation. The University of Mary Hardin Baylor's basketball team plays Abilene Christian last night. The Crusaders are tied at 76 when Rudy Alva hits a shot with less than 10 seconds left, and UMHB wins it 78 to 76. And that's it for sports. We'll see you tonight at 6 and 10.
Thank you, Chris. When we come back, a Chicago bank is trying to revive the economy and generate new jobs. Also, Newswatch 6 for Kids, and later, the networks get more educational. We'll be back in just a moment.
Make your holidays brighter at Hobby Lobby. Outdoor decorating for the holidays begins with Hobby Lobby's 25-count outdoor lights, now $5.99. Or permanent 9-foot pine garlands, now $3.97. For indoors, Hobby Lobby's permanent pine trees feature Hinge construction. Our 6.5-foot Georgian pine, now $77. 7.5-foot, now $99. Finished with our own 100-count string-to-string mini light sets, only $3.99. Make your holidays brighter at Hobby Lobby, 2601 Thornton Lane, also Austin, Tyler, Wichita Falls, and Victoria.
Want fresh coffee aroma at the end of the can, too? Don't buy a can. Buy the new Folgers Aroma bottle. It's fresher pack with more aroma. Aroma that lasts. A day later, a week later, a month later. Because this special cap seals tight, so even 40 days later, this ground roast coffee has twice as much aroma as this.
Ground roast Folgers coffee in the aroma bottle.
You know, every day you hear dealers talking about their no-hassle price or their no-haggle price or their one low price. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Make buying your new vehicle easy by visiting Town West Ford in McGregor. Town West Ford will make buying clear and simple by proving they have the best price and the best service. Always count on Town West Ford to deliver great selection, great value, and great service. And remember, Town West Ford, for a great deal and a great deal more.
It's now 18 minutes away from 7 and 44 degrees. Most banks won't lend money to high-risk groups, but that's not the case for one lending institution in the Chicago area. It's doing what it can to help out low-income families. Roscoe Harrison joins us now on Business Watch with a remarkable story. Roscoe?
Good morning, Christina. Yes, the bank on Chicago's troubled South Side is lending money to borrowers in low-income neighborhoods. The bank's success is drawing national attention as the country looks for new ways to create jobs and spark the economy. Jeff Lachey has this report.
Adrienne Barnes is a pediatric dentist who just 3 months ago opened her own practice on Chicago's South Side, where she was born and raised. She says she couldn't have done it without the good faith and credit of a local bank.
Without the loan, I would not have been able to realize my dream of my own practice.
South Shore Bank, which loaned Barnes the money, is in what some call the socially responsible business of rebuilding low and moderate income neighborhoods.
Who better knows their neighborhood, knows the borrowers, knows the conditions of particular sectors in the community than a local financial institution?
Unlike the big money center banks, South Shore has focused its efforts on the needs of the immediate community, making sizable loans for projects ranging from low-income housing to high-tech dental offices. Such efforts have caught the eye of President-elect Bill Clinton, who has called for the creation of 100 similar banks to inject new life into other economically troubled communities. South Shore's Joan Shapiro says there's a common misconception that such loans are too risky.
People save money, they're very careful with their money, they're very prudent, they don't throw it away, and they've proven to be extraordinarily good loan opportunities.
Shapiro says South Shore's repayment rate is 98.5% on $156 million in loans. That spelled more than $1.5 million in profits during the first 3 quarters of this year.
Very good. Very good.
And for Adrienne Barnes, the loan from South Shore means the fulfillment of 2 dreams, a successful career and the chance to give something back to the community. For NBC News, I'm Jeff Lachey.
And the U.S. trade deficit surged to almost $26.5 billion in the period between July and September, the worst performance in almost 2 years, the government reported yesterday. Although American companies exported a record amount of goods, they were swamped by an even faster rise in imports. The Commerce Department also reported that. West Texas crude closed at $19.89 a barrel in New York yesterday, down 38 cents. And the dollar was mixed against foreign currencies in early European trading. Gold was fixed at $334.60 an ounce, up a dime. That's a look at business news this morning.
That was a really interesting story. You know, I was really surprised at one statistic, that 98.5% of the loans are paid back.
That's right.
I don't know what most banks typically go through as far as percentage rate paying back, but that seems really high.
Yeah, it does. And that bank's been in that neighborhood for a long time because the South Shore area of Chicago is mostly upper middle class, predominantly black area in Chicago. I've been in that neighborhood before, having lived there several years ago, and so it's a bank that knows the neighborhood, and I think that's the kind of thing that the new President-elect Clinton, is looking at. Some banks that will reinvest into their communities, and
it looks like that bank is really taking care of that community.
Yeah, and look at the repayment rate, 98%.
I know.
That's fantastic.
It'd be interesting to know how they get everyone to pay back like that.
That's right, you know. But of course, I think it's taking the risk of lending, you know, and by taking a risk on certain groups and lending, you will see an appreciation for repayment.
Right now it's time to go to Newswatch 6 for Kids. Here's Patricia Niesberger.
Did you know that skipping class is against the law? Well, it is, and you and your parents both can get in a lot of trouble if you do it. Allison Dalvett tells us what can happen if you decide not to go to school.
Temple schools are cracking down on students who skip class. Several truant students and their parents are being summoned to Temple courtrooms, all for one reason: to keep kids in class.
The state law says that they have to be in school, and whenever parents don't accept the responsibility of making their children attend regularly, then we have to go to the courts to get them to try to get them to do what they're supposed to do in the first place.
Texas law requires kids to attend school until they've finished the school year, or when they reach 17 years old, whichever comes first. And if before that time they're caught ditching out of class, then they get in trouble, and so do their parents.
They go before our city court and see Judge Ivy, and the fines have been running about $90.
Students have mixed emotions on how the rules on skipping class apply. Some say it's the parents' fault. Others say it's the students' lack of responsibility.
It's not the parents' fault, it's the kids' fault, because it's their action.
It shouldn't be the parents' responsibility to pay.
It all starts at home, the discipline that the children get at home. I think it's the kid's responsibility. If he feels like he doesn't need to go to school, that he should get punished, not the parents.
School attendance officers want to see an end to kids who skip class, and they say paying a high price for ditching is the answer. Allison Dalvett, Newswatch 6 for Kids.
And here's Steve with a high-pressure weather question.
We certainly do. Today's weather question has to deal with high pressure. Let's take a look at it. It comes to us from Jeffrey Knopick. He's a 12 3/4-year-old. He was very specific about that, from Bremont. He said, why was it cloudy on Thanksgiving Day if high pressure was in control? And what Jeffrey's talking about, let's take a look at the weather computer. And this is the weather map from Thanksgiving Day. Now, we did have a high-pressure system up in the Panhandle, and we had northwest winds. Now, remember, the wind flow around the high-pressure system is in a clockwise direction. So on the backside of this high-pressure system, they had southeast winds. Now, we had a front move through here on Tuesday, and there were still some clouds that hung around central Texas during Thanksgiving Day and then moved out. And it's specific to his question, why were there clouds? You have to go back to what a high-pressure system does. And high pressure is sinking air in the atmosphere, and that keeps clouds from forming because the air is sinking instead of rising, and that's a low-pressure system. So why, if we had high pressure in control, was it cloudy? Well, we have to go back to, in weather, we have different classifications for high-pressure systems and low-pressure systems. Some are weak, some are strong, and this specific high-pressure system up in the Panhandle was fairly weak. So thus, it didn't really squash all those clouds, and we had some high clouds that moved in from the west and kept us cloudy all day. They did move out around 6 or 7 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day when that high-pressure system got a little bit closer to us. That also has something to do with it. The high-pressure system was about 200 to 300 miles to our northwest, so it wasn't exactly squashing those clouds good enough so that we cleared out. So as soon as it moved in a little bit closer to us, it suppressed the cloud development, everything moved out and cleared out. But high pressure was in control, and we had a cloudy day anyway.
That was a good question. Obviously, they've been listening.
A very, very good weather question, and if you have any weather questions you'd like to send to us, do exactly what Jeffrey did. Send it to Newswatch 6 for Kids, 314 South I-35, Eddie, Texas, 76524, and we'll get that on the air and answer your question.
For Newswatch 6 for Kids, I'm Patricia Niesberger. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Now, Roscoe, television gets blamed a lot for problems with children as far as kids watch too many hours of it and they're not learning the things that they need to be learning.
That's right. And then, of course, on the other hand, television offers a lot of educational material, too.
It sure can. And right now is a really good time to tune into some of the networks because they're trying to do a lot to educate children.
Yes.
The influential power that television has amassed over the years has given the boob tube the potential to be one of our most valuable educational tools. With that in mind, all 4 networks and a few cable channels will take part in Education First Week. Today through December 6th, for the next 7 days, the networks will air sitcoms, specials, and made-for-TV movies dedicated to promoting quality education for students of all ages. Here's Andy Culpepper.
ABC
ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC have all committed more than 20 hours of primetime programming, 140 hours in all, to Education First Week. 7 days set aside for airing special programs dedicated to the subject of quality education. The week-long program is the effort of Education First, a nonprofit organization made up of entertainment executives and producers, co-founded by former educator-turned-producer Carol Eisenberg.
There's an enormous role that television plays in role modeling. And so the more positive messages that come out, the more positively there's a chance that we'll follow them. And one of the reasons that we're using entertainment is that we are a society that have used to be entertained now. And so you really wanted to come across those lines, so it feels like it's interesting.
I said voluptuous.
Evening Shade, Blossom, Northern Exposure, Empty Nest, and The Golden Palace are a handful of shows that have prepared special scripts pertaining to themes of education. NBC will air a special made-for-TV movie called A Town Torn Apart, based on the real life of educator Dennis Litke, the controversial New Hampshire school principal whose teaching methods eventually won him praise and respect. L.A. Law's Michael Tucker and wife Jill Eikenberry co-star.
Think that if we make learning interesting and exciting and fun, they'll learn more.
The movie's about the resistance to good education. Everybody says they want it, and people don't really want it, because good education involves empowering the child. And there are an awful lot of people in this country who don't want to do that.
Everybody's talking about the incredible depths to which we have sunk in our educational situation and funding for education and all that. So, you know, it's certainly an issue.
He wears those turtleneck shirts to hide the bolts on his neck.
And CBS will air a special school break special called Words Up, starring Jonathan Prince, Kadeem Hardison, and David Faustino. Eisenberg says getting in touch with our troubled educational system is of utmost urgence.
When we talk about this over and over again, our children are our insurance for our future, and that is a reality that we have to really come to grips with.
I'm Andy Culpepper, reporting.
Oh, Kadeem Harrison sure did look young in that clip.
Yes, that was probably done several years ago by him. You know, they're just probably just now releasing it, you know, because he's actually older than that. I think I think that we're going to see more educational programming.
You know, I hope so, because it's good for kids to learn, and I think, you know, if TV can influence them to learn, it's just one more way, and a lot of times, too, with both parents working, it's hard to stimulate that learning outside the classroom.
Yes, and additionally, I think that we're going to see probably more family-oriented programs on television, because I think television has gone to the point that it can't go any farther. You know, it's gone to the extreme, so you're going to start seeing it drift back the other way.
Trying to motivate the whole family.
Well, that's right, and that's good. That's positive.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got to take a break. When we come back, Richard will have a final look at your morning weather.
Buckle up and drive home in a new car from Centroplex Ford and Subaru. For a limited time, you can own a 93 Festiva for just $68.92, a 93 Escort for $99.89, or the all-new 93 Ranger XLT for only $199.33 a month. Plus, great savings on all 92s, used cars, and $39.95 and under bargain row. You get what you pay for. Not at Centroplex. You get more for less.
Only certain women can wear red because of the way it makes you feel. Strong, powerful, incredibly sexy. Capable of revealing everything, yet compromising nothing. It's the ultimate expression of a woman.
Red by Giorgio Beverly Hills. This holiday value, $25 with any purchase at Dillard's.
It's the kind of misery
I just want to have a baby with you.
that could only happen to Sam.
This is crazy.
Quantum Leap, NBC Tuesday.
Tuesday, Signs of Romance from Arlen, The Language of Love.
You are giving me whiplash.
From Mark Harmon.
So tell me.
Then one brother's a killer.
Everything all right, little brother?
I say nothing.
The other's taking the fall.
I didn't kill anybody.
And the truth could be deadly.
There's got to be a way to nail this guy.
All new Reasonable Doubts, NBC Tuesday.
It's It's now 4 minutes away from 7, and Richard has that final look at the morning weather. Richard?
Thanks a lot, Christina. Good morning again, everybody. 44 degrees now in the heart of Texas, and yesterday we got all the way up to 56 degrees after an overnight low of 34. Normally, for this day, we'd hit a high of around 63 and a low of 42, so we were pretty far off the mark yesterday. The record high of 81 degrees was set in 1970. The record low of 20 set way back in 1911. The sun will come up here in just a few minutes and will set this afternoon at 5:25. Well, here is the current map. A frontal system has passed on all the way out of the state, as we correctly predicted yesterday. High pressure building in behind it, but there are a couple of other things that we should probably be keeping an eye out for. Here's a frontal system that's just passed through the Pacific Northwest, bringing them a lot of rain showers. And there's another little disturbance that's developing right out here right now, just off the Baja coast. And that, combined with that frontal system, will move our way and bring us a chance of rain later on in the week. Here's how things look this afternoon. That little frontal system that we just showed you, it's going to rapidly move and will be stringing just across the panhandle of Texas by late this afternoon, and we'll have temperatures in the 60s and 70s all throughout the state. Now, our temperature right at 60, we'll call it 59. I think we're going to be on the cool side with sunny skies, southwest winds 5 to 10. Tonight, clear with a low of 33, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And tomorrow, a sunny day with a high of 63, northwest winds 5 to 10. Let's look in on the extended forecast. Now, that's the end of the good weather, at least as we know it right now. Scattered showers for Thursday and Friday with lows in the 40s, highs in the 50s. And then we're calling for the best chance of rain to be Saturday. Numerous showers, lows in the 30s, highs in the 40s. Doesn't look too pleasant for that Temple playoff game in Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco Saturday.
No, it sure doesn't at all. Are you going?
Oh, I haven't made up my mind yet. I've got a sick kid, so just have to wait and see. If it's raining, I certainly won't.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
It's too bad it can't be televised.
Yeah, isn't that a shame? I was about to say, I'll just sit home and watch it on TV, and then,
Can't do that.
and then I remembered, whoops, can't do that. Have to listen to it on the radio.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, Butch the Bulldog won't have to worry about that kind of weather.
I'm not familiar with Butch the Bulldog.
Well, I'm going to
tell
tell
me
you
about it.
I will tell you about it. On a final note this morning, Butch the Bulldog had anything but a dog's life. He dined on Kentucky Fried Chicken, slept in a baby bed, and even had to file income tax returns. He died last January, and Butch's estate has finally been settled. A 1983 Ford van, which Butch used for regular drives around Springfield, Missouri, was auctioned off over the weekend. That put an end to the list of assets that belonged to Butch. When his master died in 1983, Butch inherited a trust fund worth nearly $100,000. Now that Butch is gone, the money will go to his master's human heirs.
Are you sure we didn't have a story about that dog one time? I remember a story about a dog that liked to ride in a van.
No, that was the John Pertzborn story.
Yeah. But,
no, that wasn't Butch.
Well, you know, he does a lot of things around Missouri is the reason I was asking. Well, anyway.
Poor Butch.
We wish him...
Maybe it's that chicken that killed him. I don't know.
No comment there, Christina. We're on dancing on dangerous ground now.
I'm just kidding.
Of course. Everybody knows that fried chicken is good for you. It's
sure.
Nature's most perfect food.
Great healthy stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
We've got to go. We'll be back with more healthy stuff at 7:26. We'll see you then.
44 degrees. Bye now.
Good morning. Air Force officials are looking into 2 fatal accidents that occurred last night. In Montana, 2 C-141 transports